of the Straight Outta Bondage series. It's all about breaking free. Today is on codependency. Whew, this is another big one for me. So I often wondered, what exactly is a codependent person anyway? I knew I was one, but really, what is it? So it's basically someone who relies on another person, a substance, or an activity to meet your own emotional needs. So you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself. So in turn, you are looking for an outside source to fill an inside void. It's where you rely on or depend on other people needing you in order to feel good about yourself, to feel like you're good enough, like you mean something. It also can be called the relationship addiction, because typically someone who's codependent is in a relationship with other people, and it tends to be one-sided. And it's emotionally destructive. You know, the person who suffers from codependency is always the giver, the caretaker, the one who just always puts someone else's needs above their own. And so they make making that other person happy their number one goal in life. And so they kind of end up losing themselves in the relationships that they're in, because they're constantly focused on meeting other people's needs. So where does it come from? Typically, codependency comes from the unmet emotional needs that started in childhood. Maybe you had a parent who was a perfectionist and everything had to be one certain way in order for it to be accepted. Or they constantly put their needs aside to make sure everyone else was happy. You know, they didn't eat their dinner until everyone else had what they needed. They never put themselves first. Sometimes you might have had parents who made you feel shame and guilt when you made a mistake, or you tried to somehow display your own emotional needs, that it just kind of felt like it wasn't accepted, or that you should feel guilty for having your own needs. Maybe it was from situations where things were wrong in the family dynamic, but they just kind of got ignored. Nobody ever talked about them. It just kind of got pushed aside and disregarded. There could have been abuse in your home, or family secrets. You know, anything that was hidden that caused you that trauma. Or it could have just been from you not feeling fully accepted and unconditionally loved by your parents, your peers, anybody that you had a relationship with in childhood. So whatever the case is, maybe for you, because of those things, they are the root of where codependency comes from, because you develop an emotional survival program that carries into adulthood. And it reminds you that in order to be accepted and loved by other people, your needs don't matter. And so you go through life just focusing on other people because that's kind of what you were taught indirectly to do. So you never really develop your own self-identity. You don't really know who you are, what you like, because you're constantly used to identifying with other people, what they like, what they need. That becomes who you are, and making other people happy somehow gives you a false sense of happiness, but it's not really true happiness because it's not coming from within. You know, when you're a genuinely happy person, that starts on the inside. That's because you put you first always. Doesn't mean that you're selfish. Self-love is not selfish. You cannot give to others what they need if you don't give to yourself first. So a lot of times, because you push those needs aside, you have low self-esteem, low self-worth. You fear being alone or fear of being abandoned because you don't know how to function healthfully, that's a word, on your own. You just always need someone to need you in order to feel like you have a purpose in life. Sometimes you have a hard time saying no in situations because you fear disappointing others, because you're afraid that they might leave you if you're not completely agreeable to them. It's almost like you go through your life like a puppet on a string. You know, your next move is based upon what someone else does because you don't know who you are. You're just floating through life, and your needs are not getting met day in and day out. So how do we stop being codependent? First thing is you have to identify the areas in your life where you might be codependent. For example, in a relationship, if you are always the overgiver and things are one-sided and it's not a reciprocal energy, you might be codependent. You know, you should not feel a sense of happiness by making other people happy. You have to make you happy first, and then everything else will fall into place. Number 2, know your worth. You are enough. Stand up, speak up for what you want in life. Know where you're going, know what you deserve, and remind people of what you bring to the table, because you are good enough. You bring something amazing to the table that everybody wants to sit at. So don't ever forget that you're enough, that what you are is what others need sometimes, and they just don't know it. Number 3, set healthy boundaries. So learn to say no more, accept help more. Know that boundaries are not to keep people out, they're to keep what's within you safe and secure, so that you're not forgetting your own needs. If you don't have some type of boundary, anything and everyone will just keep walking through that door, and you will allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Number 4, work through your past. Look back in your childhood and start thinking about things that maybe you went through that could correlate to how you are as an adult in the codependency traits that you might have. You know, whether it was from trauma, neglect, not feeling accepted, you know, not having your emotional needs met, whatever it is, just take that time to reflect and go way back and just try to piece things together, because I promise you, when you start doing that, all these dots are going to start connecting, and you will find such amazing healing in doing that. Like, all these light bulbs will just go off, and it will be so eye-opening, and it will just give you a new, fresh perspective on things. So number 5, the last thing, be honest with yourself. You don't have to hide you from you. If you don't realize that maybe you have some toxic traits that need to be worked on, you're never going to be the best version of yourself. you're always just going to be floating through life, ignoring things that you know you need to address so that your situation can change, or so that you can be better and healthier for the people in your life, for yourself. You're not crazy. You just might be codependent, and that's okay. It's okay to have things that you struggle with as an adult that maybe started in childhood that you didn't even know were the problem. But you won't ever know if you don't take that time to self-reflect. So remember, the most painful thing in life or relationships is losing yourself in the process of loving someone else more than you loving you. So go out and do you, put you first, take the time to look within so that you can be the best you possible, because it's possible. So go have a good day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!